couple of people at the immigration department, so...
You've got some friends there?
Yes, we do. And they let us by.
Frankie Lymon was one of the biggest stars in America before he had even turned 18. His voice helped spark a musical revolution, earned millions of dollars, and transformed him from a poor kid in Harlem into one of the most famous teenagers in the world almost overnight. But while the public saw a smiling young sensation living a dream, a tragedy was quietly unfolding behind the scenes. The very people entrusted with guiding his career would betray him, exploit him, and leave wounds that would follow him for the rest of his life. As the fame began to fade, Frankie found himself chasing something he could never get back, and with each passing year, he slipped further into a darkness that seemed impossible to escape. When his life finally came to an end, it happened under heartbreaking circumstances, far removed from the screaming fans, flashing cameras, and glamorous spotlight that had once followed him everywhere. How did one of the most beloved young stars of his generation end up there? And who was really responsible for the tragedy that became Frankie Lymon's life? The boy soprano who made millions, Franklin Joseph Lymon, was born on September 30th, 1942, in the Washington Heights neighborhood of New York City. His father, Howard Lymon, worked as a truck driver, a hard job that paid just enough to keep the family from starving. Howard also sang in a local gospel group called the Harlem Airs, which meant that music was always playing in the Lymon household. His mother, Josephine Lymon, worked as a domestic maid, cleaning other people's houses to bring in extra money for the family. The Lymons could barely afford enough food. They lived in a cramped Harlem tenement apartment, and every dollar that came in was spent before it arrived. Frankie learned to hustle early. He started working as a grocery store delivery boy at age 10, carrying heavy bags up flights of stairs for tips that were never quite enough. By age 12, according to documented historical industry interviews, he was supplementing his family's income in ways that were not legal. He ran errands for local gamblers and numbers runners. He did what he had to do to put food on the table, and he never complained about it. The streets of Harlem in the 1950s were not kind to children, and Frankie grew up fast. At age 12, he attended a talent show at Stitt Junior High School in Harlem. He was not planning to perform, he just wanted to watch. On stage that night was a local street corner vocal group called the Premiers, though they had also cycled through names like the Ermines and the Coupe de Villes. Frankie liked what he heard. He introduced himself to the lead singer, a boy named Herman Santiago, and asked if he could join the group as a first tenor.